Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast is going on road to London, baby.
All right, mate.
We're going down south.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, everybody. Episode 115.
Yeah, this is actually the second. We don't ever do this. No, I'm going to say it. I want to come clean. This is the second take. We normally start the podcast bang, bang, bang. That first start was absolutely horrendous. And it's you. I'm going to blame you for that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you can blame me. That's
Thank
fine. If you're new around here, welcome. I'm Rick. This is Guy.
Hi.
And imagine doing that really corny thing where it's like, he's Guy.
He's Rick.
There we go. I don't think this is much better than the first time.
It is. This is what people want.
Action-packed episode this week.
Absolutely action-packed. No guests.
You know what, though? Thoroughly, the last couple of guests, we won't go on about it too much again. Yeah, we're mates with Bryson.
Bryson's old news. Yeah, Bryson who haven't bothered anymore.
It's not a big deal. He's not won yet, but he will do soon.
He will.
After being on the podcast.
Well, he's not bloody injured.
And then Incy was on last week, which was a great episode. I think but a lot of people, I included, learned a lot about behind the scenes of like TV work.
Yeah, well, according to my dad, it was one of the best I've ever done. Oh, so there you go. It's high praise.
Incy got the dad rating.
She did. Oh, yeah, wait a minute, Rick. What? Keeping this in. Don't start going from the start again now. Rick's just coughing up his sweeteners. Oh my word, you all right? It's one you got to be watching. If you're listening in the car, make sure when you get in, you then put the podcast on and watch it.
Right.
Rick
anyway,
just died.
I feel, you know what's mad about today? Normally when we do our podcast, we do it kind of Monday-ish morning. Today, it feels like the back end of the day.
It's nearly 2:00. We're late for us. We've normally left the office by now, haven't we?
We're normally done. Feet up, relaxing. We've been out shooting a video today.
Oh, we have. Well, we're going to come on to that. Yes. Content
And controversial content.
It's like my dream. So we've got that to talk about. But first things first, Richard. And this is the reason you're getting called Richard because it's an important announcement.
Okay.
You will remember, well, maybe you don't after all the beers you had, but after 100 episodes, we did a live podcast.
Yes.
All episode 100 was live. There's rumours. They're not rumours, they're true. We are doing another live podcast. There you go.
What for?
For money, because
Okay.
we want to make as much as possible. No, it's not really a money thing. You have to pay to come. It's not free. Basically, I don't want to give too much away. There'll be more announced on February the 15th, I believe. So if you're not sure what you want off if you don't know what to get your wife or your girlfriend, your partner, your husband for Valentine's Day, but you're a fan of the podcast, surprise them and say, look, darling, today's Valentine's Day. I've not got anything. But tomorrow, you're in for a big surprise. And you buy them you a ticket and buy them one.
Nice.
You're happy.
Yeah.
They're getting a trip to a location.
Should we tell location?
Yeah, go on, you tell it.
Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast is going on road to London, baby.
All right, mate.
We're going down south.
Yes.
Where it's always sunny and apples and pears and all that jazz. We are going down to London and we are taking part in a very big podcast show.
Yes.
Like, it's almost like a podcast week,
Yes.
right? And we're one of the acts.
Yes.
So more information coming soon, and you listening right now in your car, on your commute to work, whether you're in the gym, whether you're walking the dog, you will be the first people to know where this is going to be and how to buy tickets.
The only thing I don't know, this could be an issue, but also could make it even better to go. I'm not sure if it'll be recorded or not. Don't shoot the messenger.
I think that's fine. I think it's almost a bit of a spin-off.
It is. So if you want to hear it, you might have to go. And if you can't get to London, that's not my problem.
It's not London's problem either.
No, we'll do one next. Because people often say, oh, come to Sacramento or something random. Yeah. We will.
Soon.
When we want, we'll be there.
When we get the private jet,
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. So that's exciting.
It is.
I feel after we've done one live episode now, I'm actually somewhat excited about the next live episode.
It was weird the first time, but we've got a bit of a formula.
Yeah, exactly.
The exact same show.
Literally the same show.
So if you had come to Manchester or listened to that episode, don't even bother coming, 'cause it will be the same.
You might just get different guests.
You might have to a few sauces beforehand though.
Oh,
London sauces.
100%.
How many is the optimal amount of pints before you go live, do you reckon?
3.
3, yeah.
3.
You get a bit louder for 4, don't you?
2 at the interval.
Oh, so going into 5.
And then
Christ.
unlimited after. See what happens.
Yeah. I might have like
Rick
one.
and Guy hit London town.
Yeah, I might have a couple of vodka cranberries, but I have to be very careful because there's a very fine line for me between consumption and wheeze. So if I have one too many drinks, I'm weeing a lot.
A wheeze.
Yeah.
I wonder what that meant then.
Yeah, wheeze.
Ah.
So it's like one drink could start the wheeze. So
I get you. Anyway.
this is a really bad start again, but we're too far
This
in
is
now.
good. This is, I like to start.
Did you rate it 5 stars?
If you're not rating this 5 stars, there's something wrong with you.
Would you listen to this podcast if it wasn't your own?
I don't listen to my own.
Well, exactly. It's not a good sign, is it?
I do like podcasts with guests.
All right, okay. So you'd turn off now. If you how.
I'd be like, okay, that's
So when people say they're in the clubhouse, if you're not sure what the clubhouse is, you probably are if you're listening, but if you're not, it's somebody that's a hardcore fan that's listening to every single podcast. It's a commitment. It's a badge of honour.
It really is.
I've been told how true this is. If you want to join a posh, stuffy golf club and you have to have an interview, if you at the end say, oh, and by the way, I'm in the clubhouse, and you do a wink, 3 wink, so it's wink, 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 nudge, nudge, nudge. Do you know what that means?
You're in.
You're in.
Wow.
So I'm in the clubhouse, wink, 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 nudge, nudge, nudge. You're in.
Careful what you're saying there.
Do not do the other thing that sounds like wink, wink, wink. But are you in the clubhouse? That's what I'm trying to get to. Are you in the clubhouse?
I'm in the clubhouse because I've listened to every podcast.
But not through
I've listened to them live. I've listened to every podcast live.
That's very true.
So I'm already in the clubhouse.
I've got a deep, dark confession.
You didn't listen to the one that I did on my own?
Yeah.
So you're not in the
I
clubhouse?
listened to the one that you did on your own, like episode 12 or something, a long time ago. You're on the couch chilling. I listened to a bit of it. I thought, this is rubbish. Turn this
I
crap
definitely
off.
had like 2 beers by that point. I wasn't at 3 beers.
I think it was a 4-beer Rick. I'd have been absolutely in. 4-beer Rick's a banter guy. Speaking of 4-beer Rick, got a glimpse of him the other day.
Oh, yeah.
On Monday.
We had a night out.
We did. Are you 4-beer Rick or 5-beer Rick at that point? There is a difference.
Well, I had that really quick one at the hotel.
You did have a really cool one. That was
That was
that was some
ridiculous.
skill. That
And then, no, probably 4.
4-beer Rick.
Yeah. So last week, you might have seen the video. We went down to Bletchley
Bletchingley, was it?
Bletchingley Golf Club, which is talking about London, right down south of London. But en route, because we were filming there with Martin Borgmeyer. If you've not seen that video, we're going to come on to Martin in a minute.
Yes.
But to break up the journey, last Monday we went filming at JCB, doing a couple of bits of filming ready for a video this week. So we were kind of halfway down, Stokish. We thought, well, let's travel the rest of the way down today or get somewhat close. And I kind of thought, wouldn't it be cool if we went to like a Topgolf? Because not many round the Northwest. In fact, there's none. Not Topgolfs. There's Top Tracers. Topgolfs are different. So we decided to go to Watford, booked in a really nice hotel. It was you, me, Matt and Harry.
Yeah. All in one room.
No, we didn't have one room. We splashed out.
Pajama party.
We had 4 rooms.
Rick, please come have a midnight feast.
So en route, we thought it'd be a really cool idea to like do a bit of a meetup.
Yeah.
Like I've done range night before, and a couple of times when I've been at the opens and stuff, it's been quite cool to meet a lot of people collectively. But this was absolutely random. Monday night, last Monday, was it February? Just about February the 1st. And puts a tweet out, Instagram, Facebook message, everything else. I was overwhelmed by the response.
Yeah.
And how many people
4
turned
people.
up.
I'm
4
joking.
people. John, Barry, Lucas, and Charlotte.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
It was really good. No, in a serious note, it's hard to know how many were actually there because Topgolf was absolutely rammed. Look, we got there quite late, fashionably late. You said get there for 7:30 for 8. We rocked up at 8:15, which wasn't intentional. It's actually the traffic on the way down was quite bad. Anyway, we got there. The place, if you've never been to a Topgolf before, it's bizarre. It's like a driving range, obviously, with massive bars, a shop. It's so cool, and it was absolutely rammed.
It's very much like sports bars in the USA.
Yes.
Like that's what they're kind of geared around. Big bars, TVs everywhere, kind of table service. So as we walked in, there was a crowd of people. When I messaged my contact at Topgolf saying we're running late, they said, you're causing quite a commotion. It's quite a crowd forming.
Yeah.
So we had 4 bays reserved off, and Topgolf were amazing to us. Thank you down there at Watford. Put a number on how many people you think actually did turn up, though.
For you?
Well, for us, for collectively.
I don't know. Can I just say a number? I don't know if you're going to be happy with this or not.
Okay.
50?
Yeah, I thought 50.
Oh, was that what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I think that's a lot.
No, I think it is a lot, but I didn't know if you were going to say 407.
No, I didn't. 10 beer Rick would have been, everyone's here for me. No, there was about 50 people turned up.
About 50 people.
All different ages, all different backgrounds. Some people who played golf for years. Some people had only just got into golf. There was the young lad, I don't want to butcher his name, so I won't say it, but young lad who waited for me, past his bedtime and everything, who hit some great shots in front of me. So kind of from a young age to an older age, males, females, a really, really good mix.
It was very good.
So we had some challenges, hit loads of golf shots. I was bombing it.
This is what upsets me now, and I feel a bit cheated because there's quite a lot of podcast listeners there, which was great. I was chatting to a few, and they kind of said, "Oh, you're going to be bombing it past Rick then? Hashtag 12 yards, etc., etc." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." Annoyingly for me, and I'm going to hold my hands up now. I'm longer than you normally. I don't know if I am, but as of late, you've gained some sneaky distance. I'm not happy about it.
And you know what's weird about it? I don't think it's. I think it's just distance. It's not as if I've massively increased ball speed or club head speed.
Yeah.
I'm just launching it really well, striking it pretty in the middle, getting a really good ball flight. So if I can increase club head speed, which I think I can do, increase ball speed.
You're hitting your driver so well at the moment. It's scary.
I feel like any driver I pick up at the moment as well. Like
you took your own one, which is the Ping G425 Max.
Yeah.
And for people that watched the video last week or whenever it went out about you hitting the Stealth as well, you took that one because it does go a long way, not always that straight. The numbers you were getting out of that were just insane.
Yeah, both. To be honest, both. I just feel like the head shape of the Stealth, I can't swing faster.
But also it's longer in length. That's what we've noticed. It is 2 inches longer.
A little bit longer in the shaft. Longer. So I feel like on a driving range situation like that, I can just go hell for leather and get that little bit more penetrating flight. And yeah, it was good. 345 yards was my best drive.
Wow.
So going on to long drives, the day after, went down to Bletchlingley.
You keep looking at me like, is that right?
I don't know.
I think it is.
I feel like I can see the letters. Bletchingley.
Bletchingley.
I wrote it on the desk and signed it.
Rick was here, 1995. Were you a fan of writing on tables at school?
Yeah.
With Tipex or with like a what were them things called? But not protractor. Was it a protractor? Yeah, protractor.
Yeah, the sharp point bit. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What was you going to go to? What would you write?
I used to draw this little cartoon character. You'd have like droopy eyes. I think he's intoxicated of some description. Really big teeth. Dead skinny neck, roll neck, big arms. I could literally write. I'll draw it for you later.
I think we should draw it in a minute, actually, and then show it to camera.
Get me a pen and paper, Matt, and I'll draw it.
Yeah, Matt, if you want to get a pen and paper in a minute, that'd be really good.
I literally drew it everywhere, in all my school books, everywhere.
So what do you say to children listening to this now, that there will be some of? So should they copy that or not?
Don't get caught, kids.
You know what they could do? They could write subscribe to RS, brackets Rick Shiels, brackets and his podcast.
That'd be quite cool. So then met up with Martin.
Yes.
How would you describe his kind of physique?
So what's frustrating for me is I can say his name now, Martin Borgmeier. Martin Borgmeier. One more, Martin Borgmeier. I keep calling him Martin Broberg. I don't know why I keep doing that.
Did you know that is a person?
No, I think it's Christoph Broberg. Was he not a golfer? I don't know where I've got this Broberg thing from. It's not that I can't pronounce his name. Yeah. I keep getting completely wrong. Anyway, he is about 6'4".
Yeah.
Big, but shredded. Athletic.
German
with like an American-y kind of twang. A few people think he's American because his accent.
Big ginger beard.
Kind
of a top knot ponytail type thing.
Christoph Broberg is a golfer, Swedish. There you go. Yeah.
A giant of a man. And he is currently one of the long drive kind of competitors. He has won long drive tournaments in the past, but he's never won the world championship. Recently become mates with Bryson, our mate as well, some mutual friends.
So yeah, we're kind of mates with him already, aren't we? Yeah, exactly.
So he said he was over in the UK. He's having a golf lesson down with Steve Furlonger. By the way, what a great name for a coach who helps golfers hit the ball further.
That is a very good name.
Steve Furlonger.
Imagine his real name was like Steve Fur, and he thought, right, I'm going to get a better business. Steve Furlonger.
Imagine like Steve Farlonger. So he was having a lesson down some of the force plates. Lee Cox was there as well, who is actually a really kind of long drive specialist. And also Joe Miller was there randomly. So Joe is a 2-time world champion. Kind of a different frame to Martin, isn't he?
Yeah, like you would say, he is still very muscly, but he's just like big with it. He's not fat. He's just absolutely massive, isn't he?
And what's bizarre, I didn't realise how tall he was.
Yeah, he's about the same height, if not maybe a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
but
I think he's about
tall.
6'2", but because he's so broad and kind of stacked, it makes him look a little bit shorter. But they were both there, and it was so good, like seeing these guys in action. Because bar Jamie Sadlowski back in donkey's years ago, 2016 or so, at the Orlando Golf Show, and it was hard to really get a perspective there because it was like on a big round driving range. I've not really seen that many long drivers up close and personal.
Yeah.
Have you seen any?
No.
Big Mart.
I think the closest I've been is watching Bryson before on the range. Well, even that wasn't that actual close, but the ball flight is just unbelievable. It's so high and obviously so far. Yeah. It's unreal.
It's ridiculously fast off the face.
Yeah.
Obviously. So we were getting some numbers. I hit the ball about 160 miles per hour ball speed. Martin was getting up to like 210 miles per hour.
Outrageous.
Like 50 miles per hour off the face. In relation to club head speed, he was getting about 158 miles per hour. I was getting like, we saw it in the video, I was topping out at 119 and I couldn't go any faster.
It's outrageous.
So he's like nearly 40 miles per hour faster than me.
And then we got him to have a go of your driver as well.
Yeah.
What did he swing your driver at? It was something mad.
Still in the 140s.
Like 140.
Yeah, he couldn't swing it quite as fast because it looked like a kid's club in his hand because it was so much shorter than the regulation ones they use. So they use 48-inch sharp drivers. We didn't say it in the video as well. This I thought was really interesting. He was using a 4.5 degree head, which was cranked down 2 degrees. So it's a 2.5 degree driver. Most
people's putters are around 4 degrees aloft. So it's a lot less loft. It's half the loft of a putter.
What did you find? Something I found amazing, which I didn't know, that they almost hit the drivers in to a certain point.
Yeah.
Almost like how cricket players kind of
were knocking the bat.
Yeah,
he was saying that when they, obviously there's the CT testing, which is basically how fast the face can be, and obviously if it becomes too fast, it's non-conforming for long drive or for tournament play, whatever it might be. So they were saying that they get them and they're often a little bit below the CT limit because they hit so many balls at such speed and quite a hard golf ball, it actually starts to flex more.
Yeah.
So they have to be careful because if they find a driver they like and use it obviously a lot during practice, when they go to a tournament, it actually could be illegal because they've worn it in so much. Yeah. So we'll have to get to a point where he thinks, right, that feels good. I'm going to park that driver for a bit and I'll go back to it at a tournament.
I never knew that.
It's mad. But the CT test as well, he's got no access to doing himself. Apparently the only people that have them are like the RNA, the USGA, and obviously the club brands and the developing clubs have them to make sure they're not making illegal golf clubs. But apparently you're not almost allowed to just go out and buy them. So he can't measure them.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because what was also really random, I wasn't sure then if he went to a tournament that they would test the CT like pre-tournament or whether it was random, but they do it pre, during, and even after.
It's mad.
So if you've won, they'll test your driver.
Imagine if it went over the limit on the last shot.
And you could get disqualified. So they have to be really careful.
Well, what was mad as well is I, on the weekend, went hitting some balls, and I was walking through American Golf, and I got chatting to a couple of the guys, and I can't remember if they'd seen the video or we were talking about the video, whatever it was, and I kind of said, right, I got them into a little bit of a trip, what's a little bit of a trap, sorry. I went, what flex do you reckon his driver was? They're like, 5X, extra stiff. And I asked the other guy, he was like, yeah, extra, whatever. I was like, regular. His driver is regular flex.
It's mind-blowing.
It's everything. Well, if you know anything about golf equipment, you would think a guy swinging at that speed is going to be so stiff.
Yeah. This must be something they've discovered fairly recently.
It feels like it.
Because when I filmed with Jamie, I remember Jamie Sadlowski, I think he was world champion at the time, back in 2015-16. He had, honestly, it felt like a metal pipe in his driver. It was absolutely rock stiff. But Martin's, I know it's childish, isn't it? Had whip.
Yeah. Well, they're saying now that if you can get at impact, that shaft to flex, it's going to give you more speed.
Almost like it kicks at the last minute.
So they've kind of had to change how they deliver the golf club. Yeah. And I'm sure as well, he said that actually it is regular, but it's almost on the softer side, borderline like ladies flex, which is ridiculous. But it was 48 inches long, so it was very long. Yeah. But he absolutely canes it.
So two things, the speed off the face and the height.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just astronomically high.
But you know what I do want to say? We've seen this probably before in the comments and stuff, and I'm sure I don't know if other people have done these videos or not, but what I would love to see, because when you watch him hitting the golf ball, he hit the odd one that was horrendous, but not many, to be fair.
No,
he hits it that hard. It wasn't like there was a couple that would be like, that was a horrendous golf shot.
He skied
Yeah,
a
I
really
think it has a
bad
couple
one.
like real snap-ups, but overall, most of his shots were decent. So you think, if you hit the ball that far with your driver, you're also in your, as we saw, you're hitting your sand iron miles, hitting your 6 iron further than everybody hits the driver. What would he shoot on an actual golf course? Like, surely he would have been able to score.
I see that a lot of the comments like, oh, if he was that good, he'd be out on tour. Well, there's a couple of things. He might not want to.
Yeah.
Like, being a tour player is a very different set of skills than being a long driver. And you're right, you might just love absolutely pounding the golf ball as hard as he can. Has no real ambitions to try and get the ball in the hole the least amount of shots.
But equally, like you said, it's so different because not only have you got driving is one part of the game, which he does very, very well and obviously excels at. But equally, I think it's 6 or 5 goes they have in a
6, I think it is.
So they have 6 goes. So if 3 of those goes out of bounds, but then it's one monster, that's fine. And in tournament play, 3 out of bounds would ruin your scorecard, obviously. But not only that, you've then got short game, you've got pitching, you've got bunker play, you've got pressure, you've got so many factors to golf, isn't there? Not just hitting the ball a long way off the tee.
People say, oh, you must be able to putt.
Yeah.
He might not do. He might not be able to
Equally,
put.
he might put really well. He might be rubbish in irons or whatever.
But again, you're still in that first tee, you've got so much power. How the hell do you feed it down the middle of the fairway? Unless, like you say, you just hit 5 iron everywhere. Like, you just don't even use driver.
But then equally, you're then kind of giving up your massive advantage, aren't you? Because I did that years ago. I played in a match play against this guy. It was a scratch match. And I was longer than him, but I was hitting my driver that badly. I hit 2 iron. So my 2 iron was going level with his driver. And I felt like he ended up beating me, I think, 2-1. And it was like, well, I've got an advantage over this guy. I'm probably 30, 40 yards longer, but I'm not using my advantage because I'm so inconsistent with my driver. So it's like, he don't want to give up that advantage, does he? Even though it's better hitting a 5 iron off a tee than a driver, he'd still probably rather smash it as far as he can.
I think that's a video for the future.
I think it is.
How does he get on around a normal golf course? A bit like what we did with Sam Horsfield, but it's with Martin.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
But even when we did see him hit irons, because we did a little short video on YouTube that you may or may not have seen, where he hit every club in the back, bar putter. He did.
There's a couple, again, going back to James Sadlowski, he did end up stopping long drive, and he actually had the pursuit of trying to become a proper player. I don't think it's worked out for him. I've not seen anything really since. And also Cal Berkshire has hinted at taking this journey on down kind of a tour level, really.
Yeah, the only thing is, I suppose, like they said, the drivers they're using now are 48 inches. Aren't they banned on the tour? Now it's 46.
Well, he was saying it was a local rule as well.
I think it's going to be in most, isn't it? So straight away, he's going to go to a shorter shaft, which would affect his club head speed. You would imagine, like you said, his swing on a golf course with out of bounds and water hazards would change. So even though clearly it's going to be unbelievably long, I wonder how much longer it would actually be than the long guys on tour.
Setting.
Yeah, like, I'm guessing it still would be much longer, but I wonder how much. And if that was enough that then his short game's bad or not as good as the other guys, it's not. The advantage of the strokes gain and all that stuff isn't enough.
But you look at like Bryson, where did he finish in that long drive tournament?
I think he did quite well, didn't he?
It was like top 10, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it was 8, I feel like, but I might be wrong.
So he's probably kind of right now the experiment that we're probably asking. Like, he is a tour player who can hit it a ridiculous amount of distance, one of the 8th longest players in the world, in theory.
Yeah.
But he's not winning everything yet. He might do.
So, nicely sleep. Is there anything else on that, or are you done?
The only other thing I wanted to touch on was him increasing my swing speed.
Oh, we did?
Were you surprised?
Yes, I was. You were swinging normally about 109, 110, and that's where I normally see you at.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you got a 113 or maybe a 140. And
I can sometimes crack into the teens.
Yeah.
1 teen.
Yes. He came over to watch you hit some. Didn't you go straight up to like 113 when he was there? And he was joking, saying it's his like presence and stuff. Yeah, and pressure of him watching you. You got up to 119. And what was bizarre, and he wanted you to hit it as hard as you could and almost not worry about where the golf ball goes.
Yeah.
But focus on your club head speed. And I think he was almost borderline jokingly getting frustrated that when you were trying to do this, you were hitting it well every time. And he was
hitting driver, like,
you were flushing
really fast. I was hitting it straight.
And I think he was almost thinking, I wanted to hit it that hard that you were almost like falling over.
Yeah.
And you were hitting it faster and faster and still catching it really well, which was mad. And you got up to 119, which is a massive gain.
But what was bizarre straight after, if you remember, I said, right, I think I just said it to you, I'm going to hit one just what feels like normal now. Because a lot of the things he was telling me, I can't do that on the golf course.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
tee the ball up outrageously high, have the ball outside my front foot. The very first movement away was swift, and almost feeling like I lifted my whole entire body and my chest, and even my left heel would come off the floor, and really extend that to the kind of the right hand side, and then really snap this left leg, turn the foot out the way. I couldn't do that in a real. I just couldn't. No. I just don't feel like I could maintain that. But what was weird, straight after that kind of that training as such, I said to you, I'm just going to hit a normal one.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, no, what was it, like 115? Yeah. Which isn't
honestly, that felt normal.
Yeah.
And it was like, suddenly my normal swing had gone up to 5 miles per hour. So I think right now, my journey, I would love to kind of, I'd be more than happy if my normal was 115.
Oh, that'd be really good. Well, that's like, is that not far off tour average? Well, or even
you know what? I think tour average is like 111.
Yeah. But I know we say this a lot, but it is so different in it, the driving range to the golf course. It's a different world. But speaking of a little bit of a slight segue from Bryson into Cobra.
Okay.
So we have just filmed a video and literally finished filming it an hour or so ago. And it's one of my favourite videos in a while. And I've got an email. So there's a couple of reasons why we filmed this. Firstly, SAS Golf, Simon Smith, who we both know, did a really good video on this the other week. So we kind of took his inspiration and done the video. And also, we had a few comments on the Facebook group. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, join it. So go on Facebook, search for the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, join it. And also an email, which I've not told you this email yet, but I'm going to read it to you, Rick, and to listeners. So it's from Richard. He says, I feel like I've been robbed. As a new golfer, I was using old borrowed clubs, but I really got into it. It helped me through the tough times of my dad passing away. He left me some money, and my mum wanted me to treat myself, so I looked around for months, and I found a package set for the Cobra F9S Speedback. So I bought them from a retailer for £1,000, which is expensive, but I knew they'd last me for years to come. I really enjoyed playing with them. But I've just watched a video from SAS Golf, which you just mentioned, and the woods are fake. Notice the S after the Cobra F9. It doesn't have the milled face as normal F9 does. I'm completely devastated and I feel robbed. Can you tell me if there's much difference between the Cobra F9 and the Cobra F9S? I'm not sure if the real irons are real or fake. So just a couple of things, Rick, before we come on to this, just to make sure we're saying everything correctly. Firstly, Richard, the clubs aren't fake. That's a very strong word. Fake is obviously a counterfeit product. These golf clubs aren't fake. But what the Cobra F9 is, are you coming in?
I was just going to say, I'm also not surprised he said that.
No, but also I don't know what terms using the word fake, because I'm guessing he knows that the retailer that he's said, which is where we got the club from, is a very well-known golf retailer. So I think he will know deep down they're not actually fake. Yeah. I think he's just using the word fake, meaning like a takedown version. Yeah, so basically, again, you're going to explain this in more depth, Rick, but Cobra, the F9 driver, which launched in 2019, was super popular. And you used it, you really liked it, and so many other people did. And it was a good price point. It looked good. It had technology. There was only one driver in the range, which was really kind of clean. You wanted an F9, you bought the F9. Yeah. You get it in a black and white. Well, it was matte black, it was white, or it was the normal colour was yellow and black. Super popular. We've since been and bought this driver. We've not bought it in a package set, but we've bought the individual driver, which you can also buy. And it's a Cobra King Speedback F9S. Talk to me, Rick, about this driver.
Honestly, like I say, you mentioned that we saw it first originally on Simon's video, SAS Golf, shout out. And I was shocked, and I thought, no, there must be something wrong with this. This is not right. There's something that's missing, or the story's not been quite told correctly, not from Simon's point, just from the whole general idea. So I needed to look for myself. So we went to a golf shop the other day and saw it on the shelf, what looked like, in the wrapper, a Cobra F9.
Yep.
Like, it looked in the wrapper. I was even saying to you, like, if I knew a friend who was after an F9, brand new, right there and then I would have texted him saying, hey, by the way.
Well, literally, when you say it looks like it literally is an F9.
Yeah. Hey, Bryson, just in case you needed another F9, there's one on the shelf at, said retail. So for the untrained eye, it absolutely looks like the original Cobra King Speedback F9 driver.
And it even had a sticker that said was 379, now 249. So it's not, for a driver that launched 3 years ago, it wasn't outlandishly cheap. It wasn't like 50 quid. It was a respectable price, and it had the original RRP on there, which, as everybody know, I think it did RRP at 379, but it sold at 349. Yeah. So everything was hunky-dory.
Until
you
notice a few differences. So I don't want to give too much away because this video is going to be coming out this week. But there are differences in the golf club, and that might, I'll leave this open-ended, might result in differences in performance.
Yes, well,
I'm going to leave it on that.
Just a little bit then, just about the product. I don't want to give too much away again, but I think it hopefully will be out this week, won't it?
Yeah.
This is Tuesday now, so it should be out by the end of the week. But this is from my time working in my old job when I used to work at American Golf as a student as well. A lot of brands will make SMU products for a retailer. So if you're a big retailer and you want, whether it be a polo shirt in a certain colorway or a footwear or whatever, that's quite common that you would find a certain trainer. And if you're listening and you're from the UK, probably one of the best examples would be when you go to JD Sports and you look at a pair of Nike trainers, they'll often have a little gold tag on that says JD exclusive. It'll be that colorway is like an SMU exclusive for JD Sports.
Or they'll have have you noticed they've got like little swooshes on them?
Yeah.
That's sometimes synonymous. It's a JD one.
Exactly. And you do see it in golf again. You see it in, there might be a certain polo shirt that normally comes in red, blue, and black, and there's a green version for a retailer, which you wouldn't even, if you're going to buy a polo, you wouldn't even think of that. But we do see it in golf hardware. We see it in clubs. I don't know if it's in ball before. Probably have though. I think you said before off camera, one of the popular ones was I think the Callaway X Hot Driver. I think American Golf had that, but I might be wrong in saying this. But I'm pretty sure the SMU version was a glued head as opposed to adjustable. So it was quite clear that it wasn't.
And if you literally put both of them side by side, even though the text looked the same, they were still totally different.
They're often a lot cheaper, and the retailer that's selling them will have a lot more margin in them. So it's quite well known that golf clubs, although they're expensive, typically have quite poor margins. So it's not actually that great for them to sell some of the high-end stuff. But SMU products, typically they'll buy in a massive quantity. It's exclusive to that retailer, and there's a lot of money to be made in them. This one is an SMU, so it's at the moment only in one retailer. They told us it's going to other ones, which I don't know if that's the case or not. But the worst part about it, by the technologies which you're going to obviously show in the video, there was no S on the video on the club, the F9S, other than the barcode sticker, which obviously you would remove once you've purchased anyway. And
that's on the shaft as well. Like you could take the shaft out. I think the one thing that Simon even said in his video, and we didn't touch on it too much, but I'm just worried because people could legitimately go and buy those Cobra F9Ss from a shop now and sell them on eBay, for example, as an F9, which are mega popular drivers. The original F9 is super popular. And a bit to Richard's point, he feels like he might have been a bit hard done by there. Suddenly you're not getting the product you think you were buying.
That's the key thing. If you went into a retail, I'm not suggesting the staff don't do this because we've not had any experience. The staff that we saw are always great and you know them quite well and we knew what we were looking for. But if you went in and you wanted the F9 because you knew a couple of years ago you raved about it as did other creators, as did other golf magazines, and you thought you'd bought one and then found out that actually it was a takedown version, which technology-wise it is. We're not going to talk about the performance just yet. But you would be annoyed. I imagine if you thought you were buying a new, I don't know, iPhone, and you found actually it was a new one they brought out that didn't have the same technology in it. It wasn't as fast or didn't have the same camera, but you didn't know that.
Exactly. Because I say in the video, like, if an iPhone comes out, the year after they might bring an S out. Well, that's fine. But the S typically has more features.
I think it's the S, isn't it? Because that's become a thing you see like in cars, in like you said, in phones.
No, normally the S is added extras. Isn't it really?
It is. I think
where this particular example is Cobra F9, this S has got less features than the original.
Well, that's it. I'm guessing that they'll had like the castings of the heads or whatever, so it looks like you said the same in terms of the shape and everything like that. But they've obviously cut corners. Now on the website, it does say when you're looking at the technology on this brand on this company that sells it, does say not. Actually, I won't say it there because it gives it away, but it does kind of loosely say what's different. But yeah, it riled me up a little bit. I felt a bit guilty on people that are buying. Not guilty, it's not our fault, but I felt a bit.
So hopefully we've done our due diligence and put it through its proper paces. F9S versus F9, video coming soon. I would hold off from any ordering just yet.
Yeah, I would.
Not saying anymore.
No, I would. So I've got another email in that's a bit of a Dear Rick. We've not done these for a little while for one reason or another.
Dear Rick?
So it says, Dear Rick.
Hi.
The title is Should I Cheat? So, you ready?
Okay.
I started playing golf more often at the end of 2020. And after joining a local club with a few friends, I got my first handicap of 19. Since then, we've tried to play as often as possible, but with my work commitments, I play once or twice a month. I've had a few lessons with the local pro. My handicap now is 15, so he's dropped 4 shots. I listened to one of your podcasts a few weeks ago when Guy mentioned playing golf on his own. I'd never played on my own, but thought, okay, I'll give it a try. So I've inspired someone, Rick.
There you go.
That's what I'm here to do.
To be a loner.
Yeah, to be a loner. It's really hurt. When I did, the thing is, though, I texted you and said, Rick, do you want to come play golf today? And you were like, F off, mate. I work with you. That's about it.
Who's this?
Yeah. I delete your number on a weekend.
That's not true.
I said, unfortunately, sorry, I've missed about. When I did, I found it very relaxing and actually played my best round ever, 6 over par.
Wow.
Unfortunately, as I was playing on my own, I couldn't hand in the card for my handicap. So again, that's a new thing over here in the UK with the handicap system that launched, 2020 now, I think it was. You can actually play casual rounds with someone else who's got a handicap or on the England Golf app and hand in a score. Yeah. Up until 2 years ago, you couldn't do that. Not at all. My friends that I normally play with, after taking the mickey about me not counting all my shots, etc., offered to sign the card as they know that I wouldn't really cheat, that I'm obviously a genuine guy. I have the card in my bag, but can't bring myself to hand it in as it just doesn't feel right. Please give me some advice. I love the podcast. I'm almost in the clubhouse, and I think the videos have genuinely helped my game. Thanks.
Very nice.
Anon.
Well, I think I know I do know the answer, but I'll come on to the answer in a minute. I think whenever you played on your own, there are benefits sometimes of just playing on your own. Yeah. And I've found that, I remember being a junior, go out for 9 holes on my own, I always just think, why don't I play like this with other people? I'm playing unbelievable. Like, why is nobody here to witness this? And I don't know what the psychological aspect of that is, but you're not waiting for anybody else. You're just in your own world. Yeah. Like, you're not even talking to anyone else. So your concentration levels are probably quite high when you're hitting your shot. But in between shots, you're just enjoying the walk. You got no one to really speak to. You're just lost in your own mind. So I think from a performance benefit, there probably is a lot to be said about just playing on your own as a performance booster. So I love the fact he's obviously shot an amazing score, and he's off 15. He shot 6 over, which is 11 under his handicap. Amazing. And as much as I know it's going to grate on him, if he's got the ability, he'll do it again. If he can shoot 6 over today with it on his own, he has got the ability, and he's probably proven it to himself. So next time he goes out and plays with his pals, he might not shoot 6 over, but you'd like to think he's still going to put a decent score in. So on that merit, I just do not. Well, you can't. Legally, you cannot sign a card and hand it in legitimately if you've played on your own. Yeah. Because as much as you might say, put your hand on a Bible or whatever and say, I've not cheated, I am the honest of salt of the earth, there could also be question marks around it, couldn't there? Like, who's there to validate it? Yeah. Who's there to pick you up on the fact that you were on the 3rd hole, you teed up a foot in front of the markers. Yeah. And you didn't notice yourself, but it's something somebody else would pick up on. Or your playing partner just spots you grounding the club in the sand. You might not have noticed, but something your playing partner might have picked up on. So I just don't think you can do it, unfortunately. Well, you can't. It's a shame. I wish you all the best, and I'm hoping you get another great scoring soon. But do the right thing. I'm a big believer in karma. Go out there and go, no, that's a nice one to put on the mantelpiece, but it's not legit. Next time I go out, I'm going to try and shoot my best score. Good advice. I feel like you're going to come back and say,
I'd cheat.
You should cheat. No, you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't really. No, I think you're right. Like you said, it's...
I think going back to your point, whenever anyone asks about hole in one, and you think it's got an asterisk next to it, this is the same.
100%.
It's a score with an asterisk next to it.
You're right. I think, for me... You could look at another way. I don't believe this, but another way of looking at it, you might think, actually, if I don't put that score in, and I know that's my true ability, and I got in the comp and shoot 6 over and win by a load, people might get annoyed at me. But realistically, that may or may not happen. But I think you're right. I think, like, golf is that one of the beauties, we've said this on other podcasts before, about the beauty of golf is, well, many different things, but is the honesty of it. Like, if you wanted to, if anyone listening wanted to, you could cheat every time you play. Yeah. It's sometimes small amounts, sometimes huge amounts. That's up to you if you want to or not. No, a lot of people won't see it or stop you, but it's for your own, like, it's a bit corny, but you are cheating yourself, aren't you? And I think in this instance, it's not really worth it. Like you say, if he's good enough to do it again, he will. Yeah. And if he did, even if he has played literally every shot perfectly, which I trust he has, and you put that card in, your handicap gets come down, and somehow it comes out that actually on your own. Next thing, you get the golf club known as a cheat or whatever. It's just not really worth it. But
I think as soon as you're branded as a cheat at a golf club as well, that's one of the worst, isn't it?
And also as well, like you said, I know it's a bit unfair, but like playing on your own, whether it makes you play better or worse, obviously everybody will be different. It's kind of in some regard, not a true test, but part of, it shouldn't be this, but it is the case, part of shooting a good score when you're with friends or playing partners, competitors, is that little bit more pressure as well. Like if you're playing with 3 other guys having a good round and one of them says after 15, have you got a good round going? Whether they do it intended to put you off or not, I'd like to think they wouldn't do. That might get in your head a bit. Whereas when you play on your own, and also I think lastly as well, I'm sure, don't quite know the rules on this, somebody might correct me, I'm sure you're meant to say before you play, you're going to put it in as a round. You can't just play and go, oh, that'll do. I think that's the case.
I think you are right.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think you are right with that. So don't cheat, Richard. Oh, no, it's not Richard. That's Aeon, isn't it?
He actually is called Richard as well.
Oops.
Richard Shiels. No, I'm joking. No, he's not got a name. So yeah.
Shot 6 over. Yes.
We've got a couple of questions on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
That I've got for you. So let me just pull these up one moment.
Well, before that, should we talk a bit about actual golf? So I watched a tiny bit over the weekend, not loads.
Okay. There was 3 events on. Which one did you watch? In fact, there was 4. Cleona Maguire won as well, and the ladies.
Yeah.
LPGA.
I watched highlights and little bits of Saudi. I watched highlights and a little bit of the one in Dubai.
When you say, right, this is a question for you then. When you say highlights and watched a bit, I actually define that because I think this could
Nothing live.
This could lead on to a bigger problem about golf as it is, potentially.
Nothing live.
Okay.
I didn't watch any Saudi live. I didn't watch any of the one in Dubai live.
Are you watching this on Instagram or YouTube?
Instagram, YouTube, Twitter.
Yeah.
So the best bits, basically.
Yeah.
The best bits are the worst bits, really. And that's how I like to consume my golf, personally. Mm-hmm. Like Harold Varner. Yeah. He won the one in Saudi. He was tied with, he was one shot behind Bubba with the last hole left to play. Okay. So he needed to make birdie to get into the playoff. Yeah. He was at the front of the green. It's this ridiculous long putt, over 100 feet. One of the best putts to win a tournament, possibly ever.
Yeah. I saw that
Possibly
one.
ever.
Yeah.
Went in for eagle. He wins the tournament by 1.
Do you think, though, like, I watched that clip, I must admit, hand on heart, it's the only shot I saw of that, of his whole tournament. How much better it would have been if you'd actually watched it properly, though, and you got into it and you're thinking, and you watched it live, like, oh my days, you kind of bought into it more, do you think? A
little bit, but I still got the same energy watching it. Because you know what also is really good now as well? So it only took a few minutes, because I don't think the live feed was as accessible as some other live feeds that you've had in the past, because it was obviously on Asian Tour this time round. But I actually saw a lot of clips of people I knew that were there that had almost filmed it on the phone.
Oh, that's quite good.
And those clips made it for me a bit better.
Yeah, like raw and real.
Like shaky camera, and when it went in, like the camera, like, you know, gets lost and everyone's cheering. That it was those. I was like, that was really. And even like that things like what you don't see again on the TV, because obviously the footage, it has to be focused on something.
You don't see him when he holds it, do you, initially?
You don't see him. So Chris Rice, I believe, let me double check. I'm pretty sure that's right, is Harold Varner's caddy.
Right.
He's an English guy, and I think he's from the Wirral.
All right.
What you don't see, they're playing with Tommy and another. Can't remember who the third person in the group now. So what you see on TV, or the real footage, you see Harold Varner going over to Tommy, big embrace, high fives, this, that, and the other. But on the phone camera, what you also see, and I think this is so lovely, obviously Chris Rice and Finno must really know each other really well. And there was a really nice embrace between those two that you just didn't see on actual live or actual televised footage. And that was from a fan recording it. Yeah. And I rewound it and watched it a few times, because almost simultaneously you had Harold Varner and Tommy on one side of the green embracing. And on this side of the green, you had the two caddies embracing.
That is cool.
I was like, that's actually really good. You're not going to get that all the time, obviously. But so I watched highlights of that. Then last night, about 10 o'clock, flicked on PJ Tour app, and Jordan Spieth was leading the AT&T with like 6 holes left to play. Okay, so I thought, yeah, go on.
I'm in.
Flick it on. Big TV. Not even on my phone, big TV.
Wow.
Claire's gone to bed. So I put it on TV. She's gone up for a bath. So I put it on TV.
I feel like you'd be a lot of scrolling whilst watching. I don't think you're glued to it.
Lots of scrolling.
Yeah.
Lots of adverts, which I know that's what it has to be. lots of, and I feel like I'm really into my golf to some degree. A lot of golfers I didn't know. Like, there's lots of names at the top of the leaderboard that I don't really know. Even the guy that won.
Yeah.
Hoagie. Obviously, he played amazing. Don't really know him, to be honest. I was only there because Jordan Spieth was leading.
So are you leaning on to more about this whole proposed Super Golf League or Saudi Golf League? Are you thinking something like that would excite you, or
I think
that you're getting to a point with this statement?
No, it was more how I view golf content currently. Is I'm much more dipping in, and I want all the action now. Like, I joked at the back end of the last season, I actually really quite got into Formula One.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be in it loads, but I can sit down for an hour and a half and I can watch the whole
Same
race
with
if I want to. Football, I can watch. So going back to the football, I didn't watch a lot of the United Middlesbrough match, but I watched a bit of extra time and penalties. Exciting things, isn't it? Really, let's be honest. So for me, I flick on F1 and I watched the final race in Abu Dhabi. I did really watch that because I was really intrigued between Max and Lewis Hamilton. But if not, I can get a really condensed version online later on. And all the action is there and all the best players are there and everything else. I feel like we're at a stage at the moment, certainly in golf, and obviously this Super League, it might just blow all this out of the water. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Is even just this weekend, like you say, 4 events going on. It's a lot of golf, isn't it?
Well, there's 3 on the men's. So you've literally got the Asian Tour, which is the Saudi one, the PGA Tour, the European Tour, a DP World Tour. It is a bit confusing, and it's like I said, they're on different times each week because obviously they're different places in the world. You've got to either commit to watching 4 days of it, or you do watch the last day or the last couple of days. It's hard to say because I'm not the biggest fan of watching golf week to week, but equally, I love the Open, love the Masters, love the US Open. So,
but why? Going back to that, why do you think you love the majors?
I think several reasons, but for me, the Masters I love because it's on at the same golf course every year.
Yeah.
It's on at the night time in the UK, so we can sit down and watch it. And I think as well what I love about them, and that in the Open in particular, is that when somebody has won the Masters or the Open, it literally is like life-changing in terms of not financially so much, but I always look at golf in a different light. Like they are, and even like Bryson now, jokes aside, to have on the podcast as a major champion.
Yeah.
Feels like there's so much more weight to that than sounds bad than obviously winning a PGA Tour event is incredible, as is a European Tour event, DP World, whatever you want to call it. But it almost feels like the winner of this event, it's so much got more, I don't know. Whereas
like Molinari.
Yeah, exactly.
It made his career.
That's
really.
What I mean. Whereas like
Adam Scott, like he's won the Masters obviously just the once, but he's won a major tournament. It's huge.
And that's it. Was like the Saudi International, without not for 1 second poo-pooing winning a tour event, is incredible feat, and obviously such a, again, it will be life-changing for these guys, obviously financially, potentially, and others, but it doesn't have that same, I don't know. And you could argue as well, though, like even a football match, like a Premier League football match for your team, middle of the season, might not feel that important, but it kind of does because it counts towards something. Whereas,
the big factor for me, though, I agree with your point so far, what you've made, but why I think I really, really love the majors, it's the best players in the world.
Yeah, very true.
You when you flick on the Masters in April, you are going to see a leaderboard of players aren't you?
You could say the Open, though, like Todd Hamilton when he
won. No, but as in like, but what I'm saying, as a leaderboard, I'm not talking even just the winner. As a leaderboard, you're going to see that at least, if I said to you, name the top 20, do you know you'd go, I know 18 out of that top 20.
That's very true.
AT&T, and again, I'm a fan of golf. I didn't know every single name on that leaderboard. Even the top 10, thinking, oh, God, who are these guys? Should I know them? Who are they? Why do I not know about them? Where I feel like say, you go to a major tournament and the Masters, etc., as much as the winner isn't always the most famous person ever, whatever, a tour player, you just look and you're like,
they're all there,
when the Masters is on, you're not going to, Jordan Spieth's not going to be playing an event in bloody Spain, is it? It's just not going to happen. So I think that's why I love watching that. And again, a little bit like why I do like F1 in that all the races are there. Every single event. Lewis Hamilton. I'm going to duck out of this one, guys. I'm having a week off. I'm going to go and race in another race.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though? Jokes aside, how you got into F1 quite quickly. I know you said you used to watch it as a kid, but within the space of like however long it was, not very long, you kind of know all the drivers. You know what race is coming up. You sound to me, there's nothing about it, fairly educated on it.
Yeah.
Whereas I imagine if you came into golf last week, how long would it take to actually get up to speed with the different tours, the different players, the different events?
I've been golf for 20 odd years, and I'm still looking at the event and I don't know every name.
It's weird, isn't it?
But you're right, with like F1, I'm not ridiculously into it, but I do think I'm really excited about when the season starts this year, is I feel like I do already know at least 10 or 12 races.
That'll be interesting then, and it sounds silly, but how, not monitor, that's a bit weird, but monitor your interest throughout the season, because at the moment you're dead excited because of the end of last season. Will that stay, that level of excitement throughout? Because if it does, then that's a testament to the Formula One for keeping that level of excitement. Or will you kind of dip off and then maybe get back into it towards the end?
I think there'll be a little dip off in the mid-season.
Yeah,
a bit like what I'm at with football now.
Yeah,
like I've kind of dipped out of football for a bit. I was dead into it in September or August when it came back.
Ronaldo signed.
I've dipped out a little bit, but if let's say in March we're suddenly like going to get in top 4 or maybe even top 3, I'm like, okay, I'm back in again. But yeah, I'm not. It's just really, really interesting. I think this weekend, certainly with so many different golf events on, I almost monitored my own behaviour as like a case study and went, what did I experience? And I must admit, after watching the AT&T Live, I probably slightly regretted it.
Wow.
Because I was like, oh, I don't know if I really enjoyed that as much as I could have done. I think more because I wanted Jordan Spieth to win.
Yeah.
But that was the only person I wanted to win. There was no plan B for me in that scenario. Like I wanted him to win and that was it. Because I do like him a lot. But yeah, interesting.
Got a question for you then. So Thomas Michael has asked, and I saw this myself weirdly, thoughts on some TaylorMade players not using the Stealth. Robert McIntyre has been using the Sim 2.
Ooh.
And actually, weirdly, we had the golf on in the office the other day, and that's the first thing I noticed when he was swinging, that he was using the Sim 2 and not a Stealth. So
they mustn't have left-handed samples yet.
Is it good, bad, indifferent for TaylorMade? Does it matter? Is it? What do you think?
I think certainly with TaylorMade, because their models are typically very significantly different when they go from a Sim 2 to a Stealth. That's really noticeable in it. That I don't think you can hide. Like if they went from Sim to Sim 2,
you don't see it on the telly as much.
You're not batting an eyelid really because you can't tell.
Yeah,
but from this time when you're going from a blue head cover, a Stealth, a Sim 2 with not the red face, the black face, and you go with red head cover, red face. You know, it's always a trick that I don't massively like. I bet he probably had a Stealth head cover on.
Yeah, they often do. Well, it was like the Open when Morikawa won. He wasn't using a Sim 2 driver, he had a Sim. I think it's a weird one for me. In some ways, you could say you respect the brand for allowing, if that's the right term, the athletes use a driver that's right for them. And ultimately, as long as they're using a TaylorMade product, it doesn't really matter. But I also think it should open the eyes of the golfers, the consumers, that these guys out on tour who are playing golf for a living want every single marginal gain they can get, whatever it might be.
A yard,
half a yard, a bit of butt. Like, just why would they not? Like, these are the people that need every little gain they can have. So if there's athletes who are choosing not to use the new product for whatever reason, it obviously for them, you wouldn't think right now he's gaining them anything. Makes you think, doesn't it? Why should the average consumer be that bothered about a new driver?
Correct. And again, you might see differences if you're using a 5-year-old one compared to one now. I do think you'd see differences, but year on year, it's so teeny tiny. Almost hard to measure.
Do you think as well, though, it almost looks worse for a TaylorMade? Because like brands like Titleist, I can't remember if it was Adam Scott that was using the old driver for ages. I can't quite remember, but like it happens with Titleist a lot.
He had the old irons in the bag forever.
And the ball, there's guys on tour, I think, who use like 2013 Pro V1, 2015, 2017. So again, you could argue, well, if the new 2021 Pro V1 is much better, why are they not using it? But it feels like with brands like TaylorMade, and Callaway as well, who have such huge claims and such mass marketing campaigns. And this year, I've been into a few golf shops, as you have as well, obviously. The marketing materials around Stealth, it's everywhere, isn't it?
Black and red balloons on display.
It's gone huge.
They almost feel like they're tying it in with a bit like Valentine's Day as well.
Maybe. The last time, well, I'm sure, I feel like that really happened a lot on the R11 era. I remember R11 and the RBZ, there was loads of promotion. And this obviously is the way it's gone again. So it really does feel like there's a lot of people talking about stealth, interested in stealth. I'm sure I'm going to be trying it. But obviously some of the best players in the world aren't using it.
Yeah. And like I say, you can't hide it.
No.
It must. I wonder how much it's written into contracts.
It does seem to me very peculiar that, like, when you see the shoots with... So when they do those videos now, which I think are really good on YouTube, you've got Tiger... Well, not got Tiger at the moment, but you did have Tiger. But now you've got Sergio, Tommy, Matt Wolf, Dustin, Rory... Miss anybody? I'm sure. Morikawa. That's 6. Might be 1 or 2 others. I can't quite remember.
Probably about right.
They all, I think, have got it in the bag. Yeah. Now, is that they are the top guys? Almost are told, we're going to give you X amount of year more, but you have to have it in the bag.
Yeah, there's no choice.
Yeah.
Where like a Robert McIntyre can kind of sneak under the radar a little bit.
But then on the other way of looking at it is, does that, if the fact that they are putting it in the bag, could that be perceived that it's no different? If these golfers who are playing again for the living and won every yard, if they just happily just go, okay, I'll use it then, it's just the same as last year's, really.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
Interesting topic.
Last question for you then, from Ashley in the Facebook group. What happened to Rick's garage sim?
Oh, good question. Currently, it's under construction.
Into? Is it just...
Storage at the moment.
Okay.
So, basically... When obviously it was March 2020, set up the home simulator when lockdown took place, when obviously COVID first kicked off, and it was a phenomenal use of space for the time that I needed it for. Filming in there, we made loads of videos in 2020 when we couldn't get out on the golf course, basically. Yeah. And it was a means to an end. It wasn't perfect. It never was, but it was okay.
Sorry, I'm just going to let you carry on. I'm going to do something quickly.
It was quite small in size. You might have seen the incident where I might have hit my driver on the roof and broke it. I did actually have that extended afterwards. But in the short term, it was a phenomenal place to do that with. You get me to draw my picture. Yeah. So...
Continue.
This is my cartoon.
So for those listening, I just brought Rick a big whiteboard to draw his picture he was going to draw before.
So anyway, long story short, it's currently still kind of roughly there. It would probably take me a day to clear back out because we had some work done to the house, so it ended up becoming storage. I don't think we're going to use it again for filming, so I've done a little bit more filming at like Torex and stuff. But I do want to set it up as a home simulator again because the kids loved using it. I still want a bit of practice. Kind of a bit of a home simulator gym vibe I'm going to go for.
I think as well, though, what's mad, and this is something I saw from you using it, when it was all set up, it was phenomenal. And like when people saw it in the videos, it was like a dream to have that at your house. But in reality, you had to clean it every time, didn't you? Because you had so much stuff like in your...
Well, it was...
Rick's drawing it.
It was like a real world scenario. It wasn't a workplace, was it?
So before filming, there'd be like child seats and all sorts of stuff there. Anyway, so again, this might not be the best if you are listening. If you're watching, you can see what Rick's doing. He's drawing his picture. So when he was in school and he was a naughty boy, he would draw on tables.
I feel like I still need a mic.
So he's going to draw his picture.
Ask me other questions while we're doing this.
Okay, so another question
I've got.
A while. All right, okay. Oh, this is serious. Another question I've got then, which I've since deleted, so bear with me because I didn't know we were doing any more.
Didn't you say you had a voice message?
Oh, yeah, I got a voice note. Oh, wow. Right, I'm going to put the voice note in. 1 sec.
It's sending me back this now to when I was a kid.
Hope this works.
Hi, Guy and Rick. So my question for the podcast is, if YouTube were going to host their own kind of Masters kind of mini-series, 4-day event, legitimately, where do you think that Rick would fall? And Guy, you can be in it. Where do you think you would both actually come at the end of the 4 days? You know, taking into account people on there, GM Golf, all of that. The only people we won't say are going to be in there is someone like, the Bryan Bros, where Wesley is on the tour. That's a little bit unfair, so we won't put him in, we won't put Bryson in. But all those that aren't on tour and do YouTube. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Starts from Harry. So,
Great question.
In a nutshell, Rick.
Well, one, I do actually think it should happen.
4-day event or...
4-day event.
Would you rather... Is my mic still on? I feel like I'm quiet, yeah. Would you rather have a 4-day event or would you rather have a 1-day event? Where would you fancy your chances better?
Weirdly, I think 4-day.
Okay.
But not for the purpose of winning, for the purpose of finishing slightly higher.
Okay, so you think if you had like an 85 first day, that's
That's
snookers
what I
you on
mean.
a one day, yeah. Yeah, okay.
I feel like I'm always going to throw a bit of a bad one in there, but if that was on the first day, if that was the one day, then I'm dead.
So we've had this before where you've rated yourself quite highly against other golf YouTubers. This feels like a while ago now. I feel like we're in a different Rick now.
This is a very different Rick.
Where would you now? So you've got Peter Finch,
Yeah.
Matt Fryer, Andy Carter, like your mates.
Yeah.
You've then got your GM Golfs, all those guys.
Good boys.
Yeah, who are all good golf. Loads of other people, loads of creators out there.
You've got like, as much as he said then the Brian Bros, yeah, you wouldn't class Wesley because he's a tour player, but George, who's not a tour player yet,
yeah,
he could definitely be in that ranking. You've got guys like Zach Radford.
Yeah.
You've got guys like, even like SAS that we've talked about earlier in this podcast. Yeah. You've got loads of the guys from the UK, like Danny Maud, Dan Hendrickson, Me My Golf, Crossfield. Who else could play? I'm guessing this is a scratch event.
Look, yeah, if it is a yeah.
So it's like pros or scratch event. Okay, so I think I'd win.
You'd win the net championship.
I think I'd win. Only by 5 or so. Nothing. I'd
per
go
round.
easy. I'd go easy. Yeah, yes, 20 in total. No, I think genuinely now putting a score together in a competition format, it weirdly like worries me now.
But do you not think, because I get these questions and they're quite exciting, and if it could happen, it would be really fun. And we've used this before, and we've had clips where we've talked about it, and would you beat such a body or whatever, and it gets a lot of people excited. But in reality, nobody, well, we certainly don't, and I don't really know if the good guys do. The content isn't about them being amazing at golf. It's about having fun on the golf course. So, like, it isn't really something that if you're all separate creators and you all had this goal of getting on the European tour or the PGA tour or getting into the Open or whatever it might be, then you would say, right, well, one of you's got to be better than the other ones.
Yeah.
But you're all kind of probably are quite different ability. Just because some of you are pro, like you can turn pro 4 or +4. Like
I think that would be the guys at the top of the leaderboard would be George Bryant. I'm not saying he's at the top. He's one of one of the favourites. Micah Morris.
Yeah.
Pete, if he's playing well. Carter, if he's playing well. I'm not sure. Anyone if they're playing well.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I played with Matt. I would think that Matt was a better golfer than me.
Yeah.
Would you?
I don't know. I seen him play enough.
I probably would say
Possibly,
he is.
but
as an overall, what I've seen. But I played him a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't going to say much about this, right? But played him a couple of weeks ago at Warrington, his home course as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like on his track. And I absolutely schooled him. Yeah. I absolutely took his pants down and gave him a good hiding.
Oh, that's what she. It's funny because I was texting him today, Matt, and he said about you playing golf. And he said that he was playing golf. Let me read the text now.
Shut up. I know what you can. I don't know what you're going to say, but
yeah, he said, yeah, we played today. I could do with a bit of the help on my channel, so I let him beat me, which got him in a good mood. And he gave me loads of his secrets and tips to grow a YouTube channel. What a dope. He believed it all.
But yeah, like, even on that day, in a dead casual, I've got 2 trophies up there for match play champion.
You have?
If it was match play, I would actually fancy my chances.
Oh, yeah?
I would, genuinely.
Yeah.
I think it could be done.
You need to call somebody out then for a bit of beef, don't you?
Who do I want to play?
I do think everyone keeps asking about playing the good lads like GM Golf and that, but we don't do that in an aggressive way because I feel like the fans could take us down.
What do you mean?
What do I mean?
I'll have them. I'm joking. There's too many of them. They're too young, supple, fast ball speeds, fast club head speeds, and all that.
Lots of swag.
Too much swag. Who would I like to compete against?
People keep asking about why I never played with Pete last year, and it was supposed to be a match against Pete that never materialised. Convenient.
Maybe I'll play Pete.
Yeah, play Pete to start things.
The way I'm driving it.
Call Pete out now then if you want to a camera. Choose that camera there. Yeah, it's on.
Hi Pete, drop match. We'll check our schedules. You get your people to speak to my people and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Last thing then before we wrap this up.
You see my picture yet? I just wanted to put it down because
okay, but also
to get distracted.
I've heard rumours. Again, I'm hearing a lot of rumours recently that you have been speaking to a very, very big name tour pro.
Oh yeah.
So
potentially even bigger than Big Bry. in 2 weeks. Fingers crossed. I don't want to say too much because last time we said that,
Zoom,
we had a bit of egg on our face. Yeah, another Zoom interview with one of the best golfers in the world right now. One of the, I mean, arguably, this is a bold shout, right now in his current playing ability, maybe even the best player in the world.
Yeah.
You can't. That's hard to argue against, isn't it?
I'm looking forward to having Pete back on the podcast. So Rick's finished off his drawing now. Why did you leave this last bit till now? Why didn't you do this before? I thought you'd finished it.
Because we started talking about topping. I thought,
yeah, but no, we talked about it, so you could do that.
I know, but I thought it'd be random if we're going to do a clip.
Oh, we might do a clip. Yeah, we don't know.
About all that YouTube stuff.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if it was
And I'm there drawing some weird picture.
That's what people want to see. Yeah, I don't know if that clip was good enough for a clip. It might be. Who knows? So while Rick is wrapping his picture up, which again, this might be quite poor if you are listening. If you want to run, if you're on a treadmill, keep going. You can do this. Might be hard now, but think of the rewards when you're finished. If you're in the car, hope it's going well. Hope your journey's nice. Got massive feet, this guy that Rick's drawing. And lastly, if you want to rate us on Apple, please do. Give us 5 stars. Or 3, or 2, or 1. You choose. Maybe 4 as well. This is really... Do you want to talk to us while you're doing it, Rick? Or
I had a lot of concentration. So far, I've done the facial features, the body. The full body's complete, which I'm happy with.
How long will it take?
A head.
Pardon? The whole thing? How long will it take?
I used to be a lot faster.
Oh, okay. Well, so we've had. I'm going to read
10
out
seconds.
live a reward. This is interesting. So we had a 4-star review on Apple. Said the guests you have had on are generally been brilliant. Really enjoyed the chat with Bryson and Incy. Guests make the podcast so much more interesting. Always like to hear your thoughts, but it is the Rick Shiels podcast, so I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear mainly Rick interviewing guests. Though Guy chipping in is good, he does raise some interesting points, but sometimes less is more, so keep my mouth shut. I know you always say 5 stars or not at all, but 4 is a genuine feeling. So fair enough. He wants more Rick, less Guy. Brilliant. Glad I read that one.
Did you wish you'd read that one before?
Fine, you can have an opinion. Like we've all got one.
I think we're there. I probably put something coming out of his mouth in the past.
Okay, let's have a look at it.
I don't think that's podcast rating friendly.
Let's have a look.
I feel like it's like a bit of a down.
Oh my God.
So that's what I used to draw everywhere.
Yeah, brilliant.
It kind of looks like me, but with longer.
I didn't like it.
That's it.
Well, that's the end of the podcast. That was very strange. See you later.
Bye.